Hey crocheters, today on the podcast I'm interviewing Terry from the Yarnjoy podcast. She is from Texas and she's been married to her high school sweetheart for 35 years. Together they have two sons, one who's married and out of the home and then another one who is a senior in high school this year. She's homeschooled both of her sons. That's 25 years of homeschooling, and she gets to retire at the end of this school year. So we're excited for her in that. I hope you guys enjoy getting to know Terry better as I have through this interview. Well, thank you, Terry, for being on the podcast this morning.
Yeah, thanks for asking me.
I'm excited to do this. So I wanted to start with asking, you've been on YouTube for about 2 years now. And what was it that made you decide you wanted to start on YouTube?
I guess it's a lot. The same reason a lot of people do is the fact that I didn't know anybody in my area that crocheted, and you really like to be in communion with people that have similar likes and they know what you're talking about when you get excited about getting yarn and
Exactly.
I like the camaraderie that you get from being a part of a community. And you watch these podcasters. I would watch them for so long, and it's like you know them even though you haven't met them before, but you feel like you're just you already know them, and I just wanted to be part of that. So
That's awesome. I really like that. And what was it about a crochet that you thought, okay, this is the thing I want to do? Because even just like looking in your space behind you right now, you've got the loom stuff, you've got some things that looks like you've painted, like you're clearly very crafty and creative. So what was it about crochet that you're like, this is the thing I'm going to, kind of channel that creative energy through?
like you see, I have tried lots of different types of crafts. I know back when scrapbooking was a big thing, I had quite a few people that were kind of in my same age group that had small kids, and they were really into doing the scrapbooking, to like with pictures of their children and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I tried to do that because I wanted to be a part of this a group, and so I tried so hard, but it just was not for me. I just could not get into it, and I tried different things, like the loom knitting, is working with yarn, and I like doing it. It's a nice break, from doing crochet, but I always go back to crochet. That's just my thing, I guess. So
yeah, I completely understand. My grandma also tried to get me into scrapbooking, and I mostly liked picking out the paper, and that was kind of the end of my interest.
Yeah.
Crocheting is definitely my thing as well.
Yeah, I even did counted cross stitch for a while.
Oh yeah.
A few counted cross stitch pieces around the house, but I always go back to crochet.
When did you start crocheting, and how did you learn?
I was a teenager, about, I want to say maybe 15, 16, something like that. And my boyfriend at the time, he's my husband now, but my boyfriend at the time, he has a sister, and we were real close. And she had gone off for the summer to visit her great-grandmother in a different city. And while she was there, her great-grandmother taught her how to crochet. And so, of course, she was excited that she's learned this new thing. And so when she came home, she showed me how to do it. The problem was that she was right-handed, and I'm left-handed.
Gotcha, so
yeah. It was very awkward for me, but I loved it so much, just working with the different colors and just the yarn, that I just pressed on, and I went ahead and did it right-handed, although it was very awkward and not very good. But luckily their grandmother had a friend that crocheted, and she happened to be left-handed. And so,
perfect.
Yeah, she happened to come over to the grandmother's house when I was there one time, and she showed me how to do it left-handed. And of course, that made all the difference.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine, because I am right-handed, trying to learn left-handed. That would be really challenging.
Yeah.
So, what has been your biggest insight from being a YouTube creator?
I think that, well, let me see. I think that it's helped me a whole lot to get out of my comfort zone. I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty much an introvert and quiet. People are shocked when they find out that I have a YouTube channel. They're always,
Mm-hmm.
but you're so quiet. You never talk.
Yeah.
And even my brother was amazed that I could have a video where I'm talking for like 30 minutes. Well, I never hear you talk that much.
Oh, really?
But it's really helped me a whole lot with my self-esteem. I find that I can speak to other people in a small group, with more confidence. I'm not just in the background being the watcher. So yeah, it's helped me a whole lot.
That's awesome. I haven't really thought too much about like what having, a YouTube channel on the internet has done for me, like as far as personal growth, but I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to think about that with myself. It's like what's changed in my life?
Yeah.
Just from doing that.
You discover you do have something to say,
Yeah.
So
if someone were to scroll through just your YouTube thumbnails, they would see a pretty impressive array of different types of things that you've crocheted, different crafted items. And I'm just curious, do you have a favorite type of thing to crochet?
Oh, wow. Well, of course, I do a lot of amigurumis. Besides that, I do like to do blankets, but I like to do smaller, like either baby blanket size or lapgan size type blankets, or maybe like a throw for the couch or sofa or whatever. So I'm not I don't do that many garments because I always have a hard time with the sizing for some reason. I don't know why, but when it's, doesn't matter with your tension or your gauge, then I'm all for it. So.
Yeah. What sorts of things do you like to watch or listen to while you crochet?
Well, like most people, I always got YouTube going, because I subscribe to so many great people that, it's hard to keep up sometimes with all the videos. But I just love putting one on where I can just listen, and people talk about yarn and what they bought or what they're making or whatever,
Yeah.
Besides that, of course, I have, we have Netflix and Amazon Prime. I'll put on a movie, especially if it's a movie I've seen, maybe one of my favorites, and I've seen it so many times I could probably quote it. So I don't have to be watching. I can be working on my project and listening, So
yeah, yeah, the kind of movies where it's like through, like you've seen it so often that through just hearing it, you can kind of watch it in your head while you're working.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how the importance of being earnest is for me. It's one of my favorites to just have in the background. So what are you obsessed with lately?
I guess it's the backpack buddies that I've been making. I made so many of them for Amber of Ooh Ah Crochet.
Oh, yeah.
For Make Along. And then I had some people asking me when they would see pictures like on Instagram of the ones I've made. Oh, can you make these? And especially because back to school, so they're getting their kids for their backpacks, And so mainly that, I guess, because I'll take something and I'm always thinking, oh, I wonder if I can get it shrunk down, the pattern shrunk down enough to be able to make one, But besides that, then the amigurumis, you're always finding a new pattern. Oh, I've got to make that one. I've got to make this one, So guess that's what it is right now.
That's awesome. I'm trying to remember. I was in doing a little bit of, catching up on some of your videos so I could ask decent questions in the interview. I think I came across like when we were talking about your yearly goals and you were doing like a recap on how you're doing, and you said that you had wanted to design an amigurumi, and that one was maybe you're not quite working on it as much as you'd hoped. I was curious because you said that you had some inspiration for it. Would you be willing to share like what your thoughts were, what you were thinking about making?
Well, I haven't really there's so many patterns out there. It's like everybody's done it already. It's good.
I understand
Oh,
that feeling.
what if this? Oh, maybe a panda, and then there's so many, and I don't know. But I did do, like, I had been asked to do a tutorial on how I connect my backpack buddies, and so
Oh,
I
okay.
thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just do a tutorial on making one, the whole thing, and then I thought, well, I'll have to design it myself somehow, because that way, I don't have to ask permission. Can I do a tutorial on your pattern? Because I definitely don't want to, step on anybody's toes or copyright or whatever.
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
I just came up with this little,
Oh, that's cute.
and so hopefully it isn't anybody's, but I'm just going to use it for my tutorial. So I guess that's the first design item that I've done.
Well, it's great.
So, yeah.
I mean, and that'll just be so cute on a little kid's backpack.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. So at the beginning of the interview, you said you're an introvert, and I was curious, as an introvert, is it ever hard for you to put videos out? Are there ever days where you're like, I don't want to?
Well, in the beginning, yeah, it was very difficult. I think like all of us, when you go back and you look at your very first videos, and you're thinking, "Oh my goodness," I was
That's so true.
curious, because I was scared to death. But once you kind of, especially if you get on to more doing more video editing, and that way it's like, you're not quite as nervous about what you're saying, because it's being recorded, but just remember, you can always go back and cut it out and fix it.
Yes.
More confidence when you know that, I can edit that.
Yes.
So
yeah, that helps a ton.
That helps. Yeah.
Especially, like you're saying, those early videos, there were some pretty hard jump cuts.
Yeah.
For me, where I just was talking, and then I just sit there and be like, oh, I lost my train of thought.
Yep.
What was I going to say? Do you have a favorite kind of yarn to work with, and why?
Well, it depends on the project, of course. For amigurumis, I really like Red Heart Super Saver, just because there's such an array of colors. It's such a good selection of colors. The Premier Everyday Yarns is getting that way too, where there's lots of array of colors. Then for blankets and stuff, I really like, I love this yarn because it's really soft. I've noticed that the Lion Brand Heartland yarns are they're soft, but they feel sturdy. And I've made a couple blankets using those. That's the colorway where they have the colorways is named after like parks and stuff, like Grand Canyon and stuff like that. And so I guess I would say those would be some of my favorites to work with. And of course, I love the mandala yarns, the cakes, because of all the changing, and they know what colors to put together. It's fun to work with too, because you're going along, and maybe in the beginning you've only got into maybe one or two colors, and you're thinking, this looks terrible, it's not going together at all. But you just have to trust the yarn, because once you get all the colors in there, and then it's like, okay, this is nice. So it's kind of an adventure using that, because you're surprised it does look good together later. You
kind of explore it as it is created. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So this is a completely selfish question, because I have never made baby blankets, and I got a text from a friend a couple days ago saying, hey, what kind of yarn should I use for a baby blanket? And I thought, I don't know. So this is a completely selfish question. What would you suggest?
Well, for baby blankets, I do like to use the number 3 weight yarns, just because it looks finer, the stitches.
Okay.
And so, but I have used worsted weight also, so the lighter worsted weight. But I do like things that are soft and but you want it's something that will hold up because you know that they're going to be washed multiple times because of the
Yes.
skills. And so I've used Karen Simply Soft. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Or the Bernat Softy Baby. I've used that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course the mandalas, because they are 3-weight yarns. And so
Gotcha.
even the mandala cupcakes, because they even more, I think they have more colors that are geared toward baby,
Oh, okay.
or toddler related colors. And of course they do have the mandala babies also, colorways. So
Awesome. Well, thank you for letting me borrow your expertise. So now I can text my friend back and say, this is start here.
yeah.
Because, yeah, I don't know. I just crochet animals because, yeah, that's my hobby.
Yes. Well, you're very good at it.
Oh, well, thank you. I enjoy it a lot.
I haven't used the blanket yarn, but just a very small amount. So I've got some, but I really need to get into them and start using it. So
Yeah. Well, and even, I don't know, I have only seen like 1 or 2 blankets using the blanket yarn that I was like, ooh, I really like that. Most of the time I look at a blanket made with the Bernat blanket yarn and I'm like, you should have made an animal.
yeah.
Just, I don't know, I like the way it works up into amigurumi better than blankets because,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just better suited to it.
Yeah.
But it has blanket in the name, so what do I know, right? In your 10 non-yarny things about me video, you talked about growing up on a small farm.
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious, is there anything that you miss about farm life?
Probably the slower pace,
Yeah.
I mean, we lived on a farm, but it was right at the edge of town. It was like right past the city limits sign. So it's not like we were real remote. But, it's nice being in a place where there's no traffic, and
Oh, yeah.
it's just slower paced. And I miss that because I live in quite a larger city now. But also, of course, my family always had vegetable gardens. And so, we didn't have to go buy your vegetables or fruits usually in the store.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that you lived on a farm, even the meats and things, there's not a whole lot you had to buy. It was more self-sustaining, I guess. And even after I got married and moved to the city, anytime we would go down to our parents' house, we would always be loaded up with vegetables and things to bring home. And so I miss that.
Yes. Absolutely. There's a part of me that feels like it's almost a sin to buy a zucchini from the store, because every gardener is just like, I have zucchini coming out of my ears, take it.
Yes.
How do you feel the world would change if more people crocheted?
Oh, wow. Well, crochet is such a stress buster for me that I think people might be a whole lot more chilled out if they crocheted. Maybe there wouldn't
Which we could use.
Much arguing and not so much stress, And also, I believe that crocheters and knitters, the yarning community in general, are very generous. And I think that, we're all more thoughtful and generous toward each other. I mean, I made a video where I said that I was only able to get this one skein of this one certain yarn. And I had 2 people just out of the blue send me more skeins of that yarn just because. And
that
I
is
think
so
that
sweet.
if more people were that way, that it would be, much more enjoyable place to live, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot, just how kind and giving and like supportive and loving the community is. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that is unique about people who who like work with their hands is that often what we make, we make it with the intent to give. You know, so like you think about someone the entire time that you're making something.
Yes.
And so it's just like so filled with love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just, I don't know. I think there's a lot of beauty in making and then giving.
Yes, I do too.
Giving what you've made.
I agree.
Well, is there a question you would like me to ask that I haven't yet?
I don't guess so.
All right. Well, in that case, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you online, and we'll put all of the links down below?
Of course, my YouTube channel is Yarnjoy Podcast. I am on Instagram, and it's also Yarnjoy Podcast, but it's Yarnjoy _podcast. I have a Facebook group, and that's called Yarnjoy Podcast. So come over and join that.
Perfect. We love consistency.
Yes. That's the main places, I guess, you know. And then, of course, I have my email is a Gmail account. You can list that below if you'd like.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So if people want to get a hold of Terry and learn more about you, they can find you in those different places.
Right.
Well, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It's been fun to get to know you better.
Oh, thanks. I enjoyed it.
Well, take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Good. Okay. Bye.
Bye.